Welcome to the Market Mindset. We are the hub for news, results, and CEO interviews focusing the junior commodities sector. We provide market analysis and perspective that will help position you for solid returns. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can help support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the notification bell. For more info, you can visit our website. All links are in the description below. Now let's get into today's video.
Good morning, everyone. It's Andrew with The Market Mindset. This morning, we're going to be speaking with Rick Trotman, who's the president, CEO, and director over at Barksdale Resources. This is going to be an interesting conversation because I like stories with some very near-term catalysts that can be very transformative, to say the least. There's some intrigue. There's a lot of interesting optionality and things to talk about. And I'm not trying to be too mysterious, but this is going to be interesting. This is a very, very interesting project that's going on here. And not only the project, but incredible team. Rick Trotman, who we're going to be speaking with, has over 15 years experience in the mineral industry. And he's been on the fund side of the world, at resource capital funds and HSBC, buy and sell side. He understands the whole markets, the capital markets, the funds, how to get money in and out, how to structure deals. But also, he's worked at Yamana Gold, Meridian Gold, and Barrick Gold. So great combination. And before we get into the rest of the advisory team and the management, which are exemplary, let's go talk to Rick right now and find out about these near-term catalysts, the projects they have, and why now we're really paying attention to what's going on over there with Barksdale. So good morning, Rick. How are you? I'm looking forward to chatting with you about a couple of these projects. And I always love stories where there's a bit of urgency as well. And I think this has some.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the program, Andrew. It's great to be here. Look, there's a couple of dominoes that we think are going to start falling here soon. So after a long period of kind of hurry up and wait, I think that we're going to get to some really cool permitting milestones and, over the next couple of months, and that should be fantastic for our shareholders, existing and potential new ones. So.
Now, I know for some generalists, they think, oh, God, don't need to talk about permitting, Andrew. It's so yawn. It's a big bore. I'm like, no, but this is different because specifically with this Sunnyside project and property, how would you tell us what that is? Because that attracted very important specific groups, funds, you name it, parties that are currently heavily invested into the company about 4 years ago. And this is why it's critical, this permit for this property. And maybe let's just start off with that property because it is that kind of the golden piece there.
Sure. Yeah. So the Sunnyside is the property that you're talking about.
Yes.
And it's kind of the crown jewel in our portfolio. It's the one that we think can unleash or unlock the most value for shareholders ultimately. It's our baby.
Yeah.
And so we've been going through a permitting process there for a number of years now. And like you said, the project has a ton of potential. It's attracted the investment dollar for some very significant funds, corporates, and kind of kings of industry, kind of have their positions within Barksdale. And the key to unlocking all this value is ultimately getting the drilling permit and getting the exploration, kind of truth machine, so to speak, the drill bit turning on the property, because we know it's got a ton of potential. It's sitting next to a world-class asset. We effectively share a resource, or maybe not a resource, but an ore body, so to speak. And we need to figure out how much of it we have. And so getting that permit is critical to actually getting the story going. And our shareholders have been patient and diligent and, been waiting with us for 3 years as we went through this permitting, kind of regime in the States, which is just a pain. But we're seeing kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, Andrew. We're getting closer every day. And we think that, we're going to have some of these big dominoes on the permitting front start to fall here soon.
Perfect. And I know also some background to people. We're talking about South 32's Hermosa project. And even like when people talk about like a near term or like when you're near a mine, the best place to look for a mine is you guys are literally like, you could take photos of their underground tunnel from your property
Yeah.
And they were using as diagonally drilling in that ore body, which you're sharing for some of their numbers for this mine. And they're very happy about this. It's like, I think, a $1.23 billion direct cost, another 400 million of indirect costs with this Taylor deposit. So this is not small.
No.
Yeah. And when I love when people talk about, oh, we're close to, say, Red Lake, we're close to Kilgory, or we're close to something big that could be 15, 20, 30 miles. This is literally, you can throw a rock at them.
Yeah, look, geologically, it's all the same geologic system, right? So what we're separated by is effectively a property boundary. And as everyone would realize, geology isn't bounded by property lines. So at the end of the day, what is next door is a top 10 in the world deposit of unmined silver. It's also a top 10 unmined deposit of lead and zinc mineralization. And we don't even know what's on our side of the fence yet. So this geologic system, which is already one of the largest in the world, has a lot more potential to get significantly bigger, right? And our goal as a company is to get that exploration component going, get the drill bit turning, and actually see how big we can make that system on our side of the fence.
And with the map that you can see up here right now, I mean, you're kind of cradling around their properties here, which is great, but also around you guys as well are some major players too. So this is kind of the intrigue part where it's like, okay, hold on, you guys are a smaller player surrounded by very large players that are, I would say, intently watching to see what develops as time goes by.
Yeah, well, look, at the end of the day, great assets are few and far between, and great assets in countries rather that are stable, relatively stable, and more importantly, won't nationalize your project like some of the countries are gyrating about down in South America right now.
Yes.
That's where large companies that are thinking decades out in front of them have to really position themselves in. And so you're talking about a dearth of assets that are out there that are this caliber in the right jurisdictions that have the type of grade and production profile potential that these big things do. And that's sitting right next door. We've got a piece of it. Like I said before, we just need to figure out how much we have of it.
Yeah, and for anyone this is an easy story for anyone to get their head wrapped around because it is so close, and they've sunk the money in already. 2023, I think, is what they're expecting time to go. If someone finds a resource and it's out in the middle of nowhere, it still could be 8 years before anything happens. That's not the case with you guys at all. It's already happening next door. And once you unlock, or you're even able to unlock, I think conversations start happening very quickly. And that's that corporate boardroom espionage. And I always think that it must be so fascinating what goes on behind the scenes with all those major players just waiting and watching to see, once you can start poking holes and finding out exactly what you've got. Very interesting, to say the least.
Yes. I think my life will get a lot more exciting once we once we have the permit and we can start on those fronts. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, with the permitting too, it was because it was federal land, and we don't want to get into too much the weeds of the specifics about it, but you do feel like you've hit all of the markers. It couldn't be another 4 years. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's not going to be, someone says, well,
very unlikely.
Yeah, very unlikely. So we're coming close. Yeah.
Look, when you're dealing with governments, you can't guarantee anything. You can't make promises. I don't like to put out, guidance as to when we're going to get things, just because the government typically, ruins my day, by incurring delays and, being short-staffed and all sorts of different things. So, but based on kind of the progression that we need to make through these different milestones, we have a very major milestone coming here in the next, hopefully 2-3 days, as far as kind of the receipt of a big biological study and opinion by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And that'll be the big catalyst to kind of start the downhill push as far as finishing the permit is concerned.
So that really is near term. And we like that. So for someone watching today, I get the benefit of 4 years of stress and hard work that we might be getting very close to something in a matter of days, which is wonderful, painful for yourself, but wonderful for new viewers who are watching, who want to see a project that I mean, this is really close to fruition. And with a couple days waiting on this, maybe not final step, but certainly a major step towards getting this permit, I think that unlocks, at the very least, conversations with your neighbors.
We're going to be judged by whether we get this permit on time and what the results are from the drilling. And so getting this kind of milestone under our belt, getting to the end of the permitting process, these are all just big steps. They're chunky ground that we're taking, so to speak. And that's what we have to do. That's what we're going to hopefully deliver value to our shareholders because of, right?
I think on a macro level too, I mean, this is just my own opinion, is that you've got a lot more willingness and acknowledgement by even the federal government, and certainly the Biden administration with their infrastructure bill, is that we need to have some control, supply, and consistent supply near and close, and the shipping costs and whatnot. I mean, I've done a whole show on just shipping out of Vancouver being up like 600%. Those costs are going to add up very quickly. And, if you have to go to Peru, Chile, Africa, that's a cost that's going to be a lot higher than if you've got something right in Arizona that you can easily ship. That is a dream come true for a country that has stated that they have a critical need for a lot of this metals and mining.
Yeah, look, and at the end of the day, I think the expropriating mineral production to other countries, while it might make you feel better that, there's not a mine in your backyard, at the end of the day, that mine still is somewhere. All of the effects are still occurring. Now you're just going to end up paying more for it, and you have no certainty that the mine is actually being conducted in a manner that you would feel comfortable with if it were in your backyard. And so, the environmental imperialism as it is, I just don't believe in it. And, if people want to keep consuming, they need to be very cognizant of the effects of consumption. And this is just one of them. So,
yeah, I'm glad you said it that way as well, because I constantly say to people, you want to have a say in it. You want it to be in Canada or the US, because then you have a say. The idea of just saying, we're going to dig a hole in somewhere in China and just forget about it, and then I just want another cell phone, that we need to be more realistic, I suppose would be the term. And where are we getting our energy? Where are we getting our resources? And I think people are coming around. But once again, here's a great project standalone where we're going to have near-term catalysts, which could be very pivotal. And it's very close.
There's a lot of people on the sidelines just waiting, and what we need to do ultimately is deliver. And then I think the results will speak for themselves afterwards.
And then and we're going to pivot just a little bit, because some people might have kind of scratched their heads and went, okay, well, what's going on with Mexico then? Why the San Javier copper gold project? I think I've got my own 2 cents worth, but let's just hear it right from you. What drew you to there?
It's a good project. Something that it's a project that we think that we can make money for our shareholders on, right? So what I like to have in the company are options. And at the end of the day, when you have a permitting project in the States, what you want to have is something to counterbalance that, because you can't, really control the timing of a permit delivery, right? But you can control the timing to a certain extent of a drilling program on another project. And so what we've done with San Javier is we brought it into the portfolio because, one, we were able to buy it at a really cheap price. And two, we think that ultimately we can add value to it and have options that would then enhance our shareholder value. So whether that's selling the asset at the right time, pushing it towards production, there are a number of different things that we can do with that asset that complement what we're doing, corporately at Sunnyside up in Arizona. So there's just tons of different options that we have there. All of them, I think the arrow is pointing towards, adding value, adding to the underlying value of that asset as we push it closer to a production decision. And we think that this could be a mine at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, you have as well, because you had the first assay results back in October, which were strong.
We exceeded our expectations on this program. We not only confirmed the historic work, we've expanded the size of the deposit, we've firmed up the understanding of the higher grade zones. Like, we're starting to work on a resource estimate here, so we'll bring that up to kind of current standards and show what this can be, and then we'll move on to an economic assessment to show what the capital would look like in order to bring this into kind of a fruition on it as a mining development. So lots of things kind of going on, behind the scenes. Sometimes we seem like we're a bit of a duck on water, seem nice and calm, and underneath, things are just kind of churning away that people just don't see.
No, yes. And I mean, this, once again, so if someone's watching and they think, okay, so not only do I have a permit thing that I'm waiting on that we could know at least positive information in a couple of days, it might be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. I mean, we're at the final stages, but I also have a catalyst here of any day or a very near term, there's also assay results, which once again, that's another kind of optionality. If someone says, all right, I don't want to sit on something where they're just starting to drill, we're results pending. And I think when you have the acknowledgement from what's happening in the States, a real strong desire for infrastructure build, I take that as a hopeful case that they're serious and that they realize we need to get going. And South 32, they're ready to go, and I'm sure they're going to be real interested by what you're up to.
Yeah, well, look, they've stated to the public that they're going to be in production in 2027, but they're breaking ground effectively this year. They're going to start building a big water treatment plant. They're going to start dewatering the ore body, so that they can kind of advance underground activities, things of that nature. And so these are large capital commitments that are happening right next door. They're moving this thing forward. It's a big CapEx number, but it's a very big project. And so all of that is good for us at the end of the day, because we're kind of not yet in the shadow of the head frame, but the head frame is going to be built here very soon, and that we will then be in the shadow of, right? So having a mine next door is fantastic when you have an exploration project looking for high grades. So we just need to deliver, Andrew.
Excellent. And we're going to be watching. We're going to be paying attention. And I'm not a patient guy, but certainly I've got the time for this for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. I have an abundance of patience after the past 4 years, but I'm starting to get a little bit itchy. So I want to get this done. I want to see the end results, and I want to get drilling.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, Rick. I really appreciate you taking the time and informing us about the story. I had some questions, and I'd seen what was going on. I thought, ooh, not only is it like a great, opportunity, and I want to be careful, I don't ever say to go buy or not buy something, but just the story that in my head, I'm just thinking the intrigue of if you guys hit and you get your permit, like I imagine your life is just going to get so busy from phone calls from the majors to go, okay, either do we let them drill and find something, or do we stop them and just, who knows? But it would be interesting and would make a great movie.
Yeah, it'd be a good problem to have, Andrew.
Yes. Well, let's hope for the best. And I wish that problem does arise for you. It's a great obstacle to overcome.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the program, Andrew.